Hi everyone. We've been receiving reports that USCIS is rejecting certain cases because there are blank spaces on the immigration forms. In this video, I'm going to talk about the important details that you need to know about, so make sure to stick around. Hi everyone. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Michael Ashoori and I'm a US immigration lawyer based in Los Angeles. At my law firm, we regularly post videos to keep you up to date with what's happening in immigration. So if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. So we've been hearing reports that USCIS is rejecting certain cases if there are blank spaces in the immigration application. So I want to clearly explain what this means. When you file an immigration application with USCIS, there's usually a form that goes along with that application. And on the form, they'll ask you various questions. For example, your name, your address, and other important information. Now, what we've been seeing is that on certain applications, if there are blank spaces on the form, USCIS will reject the form. They won't issue a request for evidence. They won't, ask you additional questions. They'll flat out reject the case. And this is a major contrast from what's happened in years past. Now, years ago, if somebody were to leave a blank space on the application, USCIS might issue a request for additional evidence. So they might, if they really needed the information, they would issue a request for additional evidence to get further clarification. But now what we're seeing is that on certain cases, they're flat out being rejected. Now, what are some examples of questions that people are leaving blank? It can be as simple as a middle name. So for example, let's say a USCIS form is asking for somebody's full name, their first name, their middle name, and their last name. If the person leaves their middle name blank, even if they do not have a middle name, then the case could get rejected. Basically, what USCIS wants to see is that in that blank space, instead of there being a blank space, it says NA. So as you can see, this is pretty extreme. Now, why is this so important? Well, in many cases, when people are filing immigration forms, they're on a very strict time deadline. And what happens is if somebody files an application and it gets rejected, it's almost like you never filed the application in the first place. What happens is USCIS does not cash your filing fee check and they basically return your application to you. So if the case gets rejected and your deadline has passed, it could be a very problematic situation for you. So now what I want to do is I want to give you guys some tips to help you avoid having this unfortunate situation happen where, God forbid, the case gets rejected. Well, first, it's important to know what kind of applications are currently getting rejected on this basis. Well, right now we're seeing mainly two different types of applications that are being rejected based on having blank spaces in the form. One of them is the form I-589, which is the initial application for asylum. And the other application that we're seeing is the form I-918, which is the application for a U visa. So those are the two types of applications that we're seeing USCIS reject on this basis. And now it's also important to know what are some of the most common questions that people are leaving blank that's leading to the rejections. Well, one is that example that I told you earlier of the middle name. Other questions include one of the questions that says other names used, where you would list your other names that you've previously had, if any, or your passport or your travel document number, or your family information, or your name written in your native alphabet. So those are some of the questions that people are leaving blank that's leading to the case getting rejected. So you definitely want to look out for those questions. Now, more importantly, what steps should you take to protect yourself? So the first step that you should take, if at all possible, is to work with an experienced immigration lawyer. An immigration lawyer is going to reduce the chances that these kind of mistakes take place in the first place. But if you can't work with an immigration lawyer, you have to make sure to very clearly read the instructions on the form, on the specific USCIS form. So USCIS has instructions for how to file these forms. And it's very important that you read those before you file the application to avoid making any mistakes that could potentially lead to a rejection. So I'm actually going to link below to the USCIS links for the Form I-589 and the Form I-918 so that you guys can have a quick reference for those. Now, I hope you guys found this video very helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, please share with them. We're all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that see this video that can benefit from this video, the better. If you liked this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. When you hit that thumbs up button, it really helps us out. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop with all the videos that we're posting. As always, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you on the next one.